What's up, Capcom Unity? Greg Man here, reporting in from TGS. We are at the Lost Planet 3 booth, which is, I think, the coolest place to be in the whole show. It's actually air-conditioned.
Literally the coolest.
Yes, literally and figuratively. Anyway, I'm here with guest producer of Lost Planet 3, Andrew Szymanski. How are you doing?
Good. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. And we've actually gathered a few questions from the community about Lost Planet 3. So let's go ahead and get into them. Number one. So, as we know, Lost Planet 3 is a collaborative effort between Capcom and a Western team this time.
Yes.
And people want to know what encouraged Capcom to go that route for 3. Why are we going to the West for this one? Do we feel that these trans-Pacific collaborations are becoming more important to the games industry as a whole?
Yeah, I'd say they're definitely getting more important. You know, when we're looking at starting a new installment in a franchise such as this, we look at the strengths of the franchises, and the weaknesses of the franchise, and sort of what development setup is going to give us the best sort of results.
Sure.
And in the case of Lost Planet, the franchise creative director Oguro-san came to me, and he knew that we wanted to go for a more narrative direction, a more cinematic direction with a strong protagonist, and that we wanted to kind of bump up the ante, if you will, on the shooter mechanics of the game. And so it was sort of a natural progression to say, we're going to take the strengths that the Osaka team has from the 2 games that they've made and kind of marry that with expertise in shooters from Spark in LA, who's helping us with the development. I mean, the concept is really to try to make something that's greater than the sum of its parts.
Oh, yeah.
Basically a game that neither the Osaka team nor Spark alone could make. It's all about the collaboration.
Absolutely. Number 2, we've had a few hints here and there about some customization features that will be in this game. Is there anything you can tell us in certain or vague terms about sort of the level of what will be available to players?
Yeah, there's going to be quite a bit of customization. As far as the single-player campaign goes, a lot of the customization is actually going to be in purchasing upgrades for both Jim, the character himself, and for the rig. The completionists will be able to get out there and grab everything, but if you're on kind of more of a straight-line playthrough, you're really going to have to pick and choose between what upgrades you want to get, and that can kind of mesh with your play style.
Yeah.
A good case in point is there's an upgrade for the rig that allows you to gather thermal energy without getting out.
Oh, wow.
When you usually start and you defeat enemies, you have to be on foot in order to get the thermal energy. But there's an upgrade to the rig that'll allow you to grab it. So if you're more of a rig-oriented guy, you like crushing smaller enemies in the rig, that's a great upgrade to have because you don't have to get out every time to grab the thermal energy.
Sort of lets you choose your play style a little bit, kind of lends itself to replay value, I think.
Exactly. And then we're going to have a lot of other customization features as part of the multiplayer suite, which you're going to be talking about more down the line.
Okay. We saw a little bit of the dynamic weather system that's in the game, I think, at E3. Someone was asking, how much will that actually affect the gameplay?
It will affect it quite a bit. There's basically 2 instances in which we have the weather systems changing. One is in a scripted sense.
Sure.
So there are certain points of the story in which, as part of a narrative element or as part of a story thread, if you will, we'll have the weather change. A good example is you're out on a mission and you get a call from home base saying, there's a huge storm coming in, we need you back, right?
I see.
That's an example of sort of a narrative element. So those happen at certain fixed times in the story. Then we have sort of the dynamic element of that, which is if I'm going back to sort of a hub world that I visited before because
Sure.
I'm searching for hidden areas or I'm heading off to a new area, but I'm going through someplace I've already been, we can use that dynamic system to change the visibility, change the weather conditions, basically change both the visuals of a level, but also like what kind of acrid spawn. Like there's certain acrid that will spawn during certain weather systems and things like that. So it really helps us to sort of present the player with a new experience, even though they are traveling, through
Sure.
multiple. They are traveling through the same area of the world multiple times.
I see. Well, I think the series has always sort of had this extreme condition theme, but it seems like it has a much more tangible effect in this game.
Yeah, I mean that was something that was really important to us, is to make sure that the player constantly feels like every time they exit the base, they're not sure what they're going to run into.
Okay. One last question. So a couple weeks ago, we released an image on Capcom Unity that came from Famitsu, and it seemed to hint quite strongly about a multiplayer component of this game.
Sure, yeah. The image that was released was one that went out to Famitsu to celebrate the fact that we actually do have for the first time ever worldwide, multiplayer here at the show.
Yeah.
Multiplayer has always been a really important part of Lost Planet, and it's also, of course, very important to all of our consumers. But here in Japan, TGS is sort of the be-all and end-all.
Oh, yeah.
So we really felt, since this is our only opportunity to show the game off at TGS, that we wanted to include that key component. So we've got a single map that we're showing, and it's 5-on-5 team-based gameplay. And it's an objective-based map where basically one of the teams is trying to obtain a sample of thermal energy and then escape with that back to their craft. And the other team has to prevent that.
Very
So here at the Playable in the booth, everybody gets a chance to play both sides of that. So for this particular map, it's really about showing the objective-based gameplay. And one of the unique twists is the fact that as the team is trying to accomplish their objectives, they actually get attacked by the ice grab acrid that people may remember from the trailers. So one of the things that's really cool about Lost Planet 3 multiplayer is the idea that even though you're in a PvP team-based game, the acrid will actually jump in there. And they don't care what team you're on, they'll just attack you, right? So bringing sort of AI-controlled enemies into PvP, gameplay is something that is really unique that we're doing. So, and looking forward to, we've got a whole mess of other multiplayer stuff, and we're going to be showing that off as we move forward. So,
excellent.
Even if you can't be here in Tokyo to play it, you will have a chance to see it before long.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for being here. Any last comments for the fans that are watching?
Certainly. Appreciate all the support we've gotten on LP3. We realize that it is sort of a shift for the franchise, but I just want to reiterate to everybody out there that, this is not just sort of a throwing out the franchise out to, an outsourced developer to get it done. This is an effort that has been spearheaded by the team who made the first two games. They really wanted to, explore new areas, go back in the past, to tell a narrative about the pioneers and the struggles to survive and sort of the loneliness and desolation and all those kind of things. And I think it's really coming through in the game. So I hope that fans of the franchise, even though we are changing up a lot of things, and I know that sometimes that can be scary, I hope that people will realize what we're doing here and join us for the ride. And of course, if you've never played Lost Planet before, because this is the first one chronologically in the series, it's a great time to jump in.
Great starting point.
Yeah, so stay tuned for more info, and we hope you like the game.
More on the way. Thanks for being here.
Certainly. Thank you.